She was just 17 years old when her own teacher tried to murder her, strangling her until her neck snapped, then leaving her broken body in the woods to die. But Ashley Reeves had one thing her attacker didn't expect: an unbreakable will to live. And as she clung to life in the darkness, her predator was out dancing like nothing had happened. This is the story of a miracle survivor and the monster who almost got away with it. Welcome to Vic's True Crime Stories, where we uncover the darkest crimes and the survivors who live to tell them. Sam Shelton wasn't just a gym teacher. He was the kind of guy who made students laugh, who parents trusted, who slipped under the radar with a smile. But there were whispers, quiet, uneasy rumors that followed him from classroom to classroom. He had a way of getting too close to certain girls, of crossing lines under the guise of mentorship. A pat on the back that lasted a second too long. Private conversations that felt off. The school knew, or at least they should have. Complaints were brushed aside. After all, Shelton was charming. He was persuasive. He knew exactly how to play the role of the fun, harmless teacher. But charm is a mask, and his was starting to crack. Then he ran into Ashley Reeves. She had been his middle school student once. Just a kid back then, but now at 17 she was older, more vulnerable. And Shelton saw an opportunity. What started as innocent basketball games quickly twisted into something far more sinister. He isolated her, controlled her, made her believe she needed him. But this wasn't just another one of his games. This time his obsession ran deep. And when Ashley tried to pull away, Shelton's rage wasn't just anger, it was fury. The kind that doesn't just hurt, the kind that destroys. Because Sam Shelton wasn't used to losing, and he would do anything, to make sure Ashley didn't walk away from him, even if it meant she never walked again. It began with basketball, just innocent games between a teacher and his former student. Nothing unusual, nothing suspicious. At least, that's how it looked from the outside. But Sam Shelton wasn't playing games. He was laying traps. At first, the meetings were casual. A quick shoot-around after school. A friendly chat by the bleachers. Then came the texts, harmless at first, just checking in. But soon, the messages grew more personal, more insistent. He made her feel special, like she was the only one who truly understood him. And before she knew it, Ashley was sneaking around just to talk to him, hiding their conversations from friends, from family. Shelton didn't just want her attention. He wanted control. He convinced her that no one else cared about her the way he did, that her friends were jealous, that her family wouldn't understand. He monitored her phone, questioned her about every conversation, every interaction. If she didn't reply fast enough, he'd punish her with silence, then love bomb her with affection when she came crawling back. Ashley was smart, strong, but even the strongest people can be worn down, and Shelton was patient. He knew exactly how to twist her emotions, how to make her doubt herself. Then, one day, she tried to break free. She told him it was over, that she couldn't do this anymore. That's when the mask slipped completely. The charming teacher vanished. In his place stood something far more dangerous, a man who refused to let go. A man who had spent months manipulating her, and who wasn't about to let her walk away. His reaction wasn't just anger. It was a warning. And Ashley was about to learn just how far he would go to keep her. The night of April 27th, 2006 started like any other spring evening. Crickets chirping in the warm Illinois air. A faint breeze rustling through the trees. Ashley Reeves had made up her mind. This would be the last time. The last secret meeting. The final goodbye to the man who had controlled her life for months. She met Shelton near the woods, a place they'd gone before to talk privately. But this conversation would be different. When she told him it was really over, something inside him shattered. The charming teacher, the smooth talker, the master manipulator, all of that disappeared in an instant. What happened next was pure, unfiltered violence. His hands closed around her throat with terrifying strength. The pressure built until something in her neck gave way with an audible crack. Even then, he wasn't done. He pulled off his belt and wrapped it around her neck, pulling with such force that the leather actually snapped in two. Then came the most chilling part of all. Shelton didn't panic. He didn't call for help. He simply dragged Ashley's limp body deeper into the woods and left her there like discarded trash. As her life drained away into the dirt, Shelton did something unimaginable. He went line dancing, laughing, drinking, acting like nothing had happened. But here's what Sam Shelton didn't account for. That crack he heard, it wasn't the end. Against all odds, against every law of nature, Ashley's heart kept beating. Her lungs kept fighting for air. While Shelton twirled around that dance floor without a care in the world, his victim was clinging to life just a few miles away. The woods were dark. The pain was unbearable. And Ashley Reeves was completely alone. But she wasn't dead. Not yet. And that simple fact will become Shelton's worst nightmare. For 30 hours, Ashley Reeves lay broken in those woods. 30 hours of fading in and out of consciousness. 30 hours of unimaginable pain. Her neck was fractured. Her body was shutting down. Every breath was a battle. Every moment could have been her last. But Ashley wasn't ready to die. Somehow, through the haze of pain and delirium, she managed to make sounds. Weak, guttural moans that barely carried through the trees. Just enough noise to catch the attention of a passerby who would become her guardian angel. A man walking his dog heard something that didn't belong in the forest. A human sound where no human should be. When rescuers reached her, what they found defied all logic. Medical experts would later say she should have died within minutes of the attack. The damage to her neck was catastrophic. The lack of oxygen should have been fatal. Yet here she was, clinging to life with tenacity that shocked everyone. The hospital became Ashley's battleground. She had to relearn everything. How to swallow, how to speak, how to move her limbs. Simple words became monumental achievements. Taking a single step felt like climbing a mountain, but through sheer force of will, she fought her way back. Meanwhile, the police were closing in on Shelton. His story kept changing. First, he claimed he hadn't seen Ashley. Then he said they'd argued but parted ways. His lies unraveled faster than he could spin them. When confronted with evidence, his carefully constructed facade crumbled. The truth came out in fits and starts, each version more damning than the last. But here's what's truly chilling. Even as Ashley fought for her life in that hospital bed, Shelton was still trying to control the narrative, still trying to manipulate the situation, still refusing to admit the full extent of his monstrous actions. Ashley's survival wasn't just a medical miracle. It was the beginning of Shelton's downfall, because every breath she took, every word she eventually spoke, became evidence against him. The girl he tried to erase was about to become his worst nightmare. And her voice, that voice he tried to silence forever, would soon be heard loud and clear in a courtroom. The courtroom erupted when the judge handed down Shelton's sentence. 20 years for attempted murder. At the time, it felt like justice. 20 years for the broken neck. 20 years for the snap belt. 20 years for leaving a teenage girl to die alone in the woods. But time has a way of playing cruel tricks, and the justice system has a way of failing victims. Because Sam Shelton didn't serve 20 years. He served barely 18 before the parole board decided he'd been punished enough. 18 years for a crime that should have carried a life sentence. 18 years while Ashley Reeves still carries the scars, both physical and emotional, every single day of her life. Here's what the parole board didn't consider carefully enough. Shelton's predatory nature didn't magically disappear behind bars. Even while awaiting trial, even knowing all eyes were on him, he couldn't help himself. Jailhouse phone calls revealed his attempts to contact another teenage girl. The same patterns, the same manipulations, the same dangerous obsessions. Now he walks free. Same eyes, same hands, same mind that convinced itself murder was an acceptable response to rejection. He's out there right now, living his life, while Ashley and her family live with what he did every day. The most terrifying question isn't whether Shelton has changed. It's whether the world will recognize the danger before it's too late. Because predators like him don't reform, they just find new hunting grounds, new victims, new opportunities to exploit. Ashley survived against all odds, but the system failed her. And unless someone's watching closely, unless someone's paying attention, Shelton may get the chance to finish what he started all those years ago. The scars on Ashley's neck have faded, but the threat? That's still very much alive. Ashley Reeves should be a statistic. By all medical reasoning, she should have died in those woods. But today, she stands as something far more powerful, a living testament to human resilience, and a walking rebuke to the man who tried to destroy her. Every step she takes, every word she speaks, is a victory Sam Shelton tried to steal from her. Her recovery wasn't just physical, it was a complete rebirth. Learning to trust again, learning to feel safe in her own skin, and most remarkably, finding the courage to use her voice to protect others. While Shelton was scheming behind bars, Ashley was transforming her pain into purpose, becoming a beacon for other survivors. But her story raises uncomfortable questions that demand answers. When a man demonstrates this level of calculated cruelty, when he shows zero genuine remorse, when he continues his predatory behavior even while incarcerated, what exactly did those 18 years in prison accomplish? Rehabilitation? Or simply a timeout before he gets another chance to hurt someone? This isn't just about Ashley anymore. It's about every potential victim who might cross Shelton's path. It's about whether our justice system values punishment over prevention. And it's about all of us, how we respond when monsters walk among us, disguised as ordinary men. Now I want to hear from you. Look at the facts. Look at Shelton's actions before, during, and after prison. Do you believe predators like him can ever truly be reformed? Or are we just waiting for the next tragedy to happen? Leave your thoughts in the comments. This is a conversation that needs to happen. If this story chilled you to your core, share it. Share it with parents who need to recognize grooming behavior. Share it with young people who need to understand the warning signs. Share it with anyone who still believes it could never happen here. Because awareness is our first line of defense. And if you want more stories that expose the darkest corners of human nature while honoring the incredible survivors who emerge from them, hit that subscribe button. Every week, we bring you cases that will shock you, anger you, and ultimately remind you the incredible strength of the human spirit. The next story might just save someone's life.